Hey, hey, hey. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, welcome back. Yes, to Light Work and Life Talk with me, Allison Rozzel. It is another week, another message, and I have got something to share this week, of course, or else I wouldn't be here, right? Well, I kind of feel like Spirit is giving me this theme for these last few episodes. But honestly and truthfully, I kind of like talking about these things because as excuse me, an energy healer, as a Reiki master healer and teacher, spiritual empowerment and coach for Black women and women of color who are 40 and over. Um, these are just things that really just need to be addressed, and we need to talk about them. And we need to make room for these conversations and have these frank conversations. And that's actually what I really want from this podcast more than anything. Um, Now, I don't know if I'll ever have guests on this podcast because I wanted to kind of use it as a platform for me to teach. My other previous podcast, I had like a lot of interviews. And don't get me wrong, I loved every moment of that. But y'all, that can be really stressful trying to put together interviews, make sure everybody's schedule aligns, and all this other stuff. See, me right now, I'm sitting in my house. I'm plugged into my laptop. I got my, little comfy clothes on and my head is wrapped and I got my coffee and my water and I'm just chilling. So this makes me feel very comfortable. And that's another reason why I'm doing audio only and no video because yeah, that's just a lot. That's just a lot. Okay. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business because um and I want to apologize in advance with the change of the weather and the season about to change to fall, which I am so excited about. Even though I am a summer baby, I love the fall. Um, so my sinuses are kicking into overdrive. So you're going to hear me sniff. I'm going to try not to sound so nasally and snotty, but I make no promises. Right now, it's just is what it is. Just, give your girl some grace. Because I'm pretty sure some of y'all are stopped up and your sinuses are starting to kick in overdrive as well. So we're going to get through this thing together, okay? All right. Now, so today's episode, as you can see by the title, the world keeps trying to humble Black women, and we're done with that. We're done with that. We're not gonna do this anymore. Um, First of all, I am sick of it. I'm sick of it. And, sisters, I gotta keep it real. Sometimes we are the biggest, let's see, sometimes we do this to each other. I'll say it that way because I can't quite, my perimenopausal brain won't let me get the words that I really want to say. So I'll just say it that way. Okay. And there's a reason why this is coming up. I was inspired by something that I saw, of course, online, social media. That's the influence of the world right now is stuff that happens online. Um, but nevertheless, we're gonna talk about it. So let me just set the tone right here. This episode is for every Black woman who's ever been told that she's too loud, she's too confident, she's too visible, she's too proud, when really she's just too powerful to be controlled. Because, see, that's the thing, right? I think people look to Black women for some reason. They want us to They want to control us. And we can't be and won't be controlled. Not anymore. At least we're not going to allow it, right? So, how do I want to start this? So, I know you remember, I was talking about how we need to embody main character energy in that episode. If you haven't listened to that episode, please go back and listen to it, because we do. It's time. And, I know I'm speaking to Black women, but I am really, really speaking to the Black women who are 40 and over, because we are mostly Generation X, elder millennials, and some boomers that rock with me, roll with me. Hey, boomers. Hey, y'all. Hey, girls. Some of y'all rock with me, and it's cool. I love that. Um, But yeah, so these are just things that we were just so indoctrinated with, right? Um, so we're always, told, don't be too full of yourself. Stay humble. Let the man lead. Tone it down. You're doing too much. Now, let me go into the Google machine. Um, because I want to share with you the definitions that come up for the word humble. I hear this word so much. And if if you understand that our words are spells, our words have power. It's just like the Bible even says, so a man thinketh in his heart, so it is. It's like whatever you're saying, so it is. And we have to be careful with those declarations. But one of the things that people keep trying to declare upon Black women is for us to be humble. And they always want to humble us. And as much as I hate to say this, oh dear God, sometimes Black men really get this part right here where they try to humble Black women. And I get it. They were raised and indoctrinated in all the uh sexism, racism, patriarchal BS that we were all pretty much indoctrinated with. So they just, Black men are they're trying to find themselves in all this. And I think that they are slowly, because sometimes I'm seeing some, conscious brothers step forward, and I think they're slowly starting to step away. But what I think is the younger Black men are going to be the ones to show the way. The older Black men that are like in our age group, I'm not saying that they're lost cause, because no, I don't believe anybody is. But I feel like a lot of them are still so lost in the sauce that they don't understand just how wrong they are in some of the ways that they not only treat Black women but treat each other. So let's look at humble. So if we look at humble, it can be used as an adjective or verb. So when you're looking at the adjective, and those that don't know, let me just tell y'all, I'm the daughter of two teachers. Okay. I teach. I like researching information and giving information to back up what I am saying. I don't ever want to just be talking out of my ass. I want to explain why I am taking this route to talk about why the world keeps trying to humble Black women and why we not going for that no more. We not doing it. So when you look at the definition as an adjective for the word humble, it says having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. Hmm. The second definition says of low social, administrative, or political rank. So that's the adjective. If we're going to use the word humble as an adjective, that is what we're saying. But let's keep going, because I think the verb, when we're using it as a verb, this is where, this is where, this is what got me. To lower someone in dignity and importance. That's it. to lower someone in dignity and importance. That is the crux of what the world does or attempts to do to Black women each and every time we open up our mouths. Again, we're always told we're too loud, we're too this, we're too full of ourselves. We got to stay humble. Don't get too full of yourself. Let men lead. Tone it down. You're just doing too much. And you know what? When I was putting this together, I had to check myself on a lot of this. But let me kind of tell you how I got to this before I go deeper into this message. So, if you are on social media, whether that be on Instagram or TikTok, you may have seen just a little bit, just like a smidget, a soupçon of controversy as it relates to Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown is an internet sensation. She used to do videos of her cooking food. She became a vegan because of health issues. She talked about, hell, she almost convinced me to be a vegan, to be honest. And I have tried some of the things that I've gotten from her, and I loved it. So, yes, I do enjoy plant based every now and then because I feel like we need that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, Tabitha Brown, for this past, I'll say in 2025, there has not been too many moments where someone has not tried to humble her. So let me just go a little deeper into this. So last week, Tabitha made a video. And if you follow her, I follow her because I love me some Tabitha Brown. And I don't care what nobody says. There is nothing that any of y'all can do that'll make me hate that woman. Because I actually am very proud of her. Because her story and her journey has been amazing to watch and behold. And we've all seen it right before our eyes. So she made a video talking to entrepreneurs. And what she was saying in the video, which I understood what she was saying, you know, because the only reason why I got a little triggered by it, it wasn't because I thought she was wrong. It's because it was bringing up some memories for me of, dealing with what she was talking about. So what she was saying was, okay, you've been doing this entrepreneur thing for a while. You've been robbing Peter to pay Paul. You've been borrowing money from people. You have been doing all these things, but maybe it might be time for you to not let go of what you're doing, but get a job so that you can sustain your livelihood. And this is just Allison saying, and let your job be the investment money into your business when you need it. Okay. So she goes on and she says this, and she says this in the way that only Tabitha Brown can say it. And next thing I know, here comes the group of people that want to humble this woman and saying, "Oh, she's being tone deaf. Why is she acting like the economy isn't bad and the job market isn't bad? She's out of touch. She doesn't know it." So first and foremost, there are two groups of people as it relates to communication. You have the people who listen to comprehend, and then you have the people who listen to respond. And those are usually the people that are very reactionary. It's like when you, soon as you hit a nerve, you strike a nerve with them, they react. They don't stop and hit the brakes and be like, okay, wait a minute, let me kind of think this through and understand why is this triggering me, etc. So all these takes now are on TikTok and Instagram from people, mostly Black women, saying, "Oh, she's so out of touch," and calling her out of her name. I'm like, okay, Flag on the play. And I'm throwing something right now. Flag on the play. Why are we trying to break down another Black woman? Why are you trying to humble her as if she said something that was so out of pocket and wrong? The old folks used to say a hit dog will holler every time. So maybe instead of you lashing out at Tabitha, go back, look at the video, and try to understand, why is it triggering you so much? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you someone who's been out here trying to create a new life for yourself with a business that maybe isn't making a lot of money, that your profits aren't enough to sustain your lifestyle? Because I've been there before. I've done that. I've done that a few times. And the second time, that the last time actually that happened to me, was around the time that I feel like I was supposed to still leave the job, because what the year that lied ahead of me was me being a caregiver for my aunt. But that year, financially, that was a hard ass year. And I could not give my business my all the way I wanted to, because I was being a caregiver full time. And that shit's not easy. But I was also doing the things in my business, which also was not easy. So once my aunt passed away and I had all this debt, because yes, I did spend time robbing Peter to pay Paul, borrowing money. I'll pay you back. Do this, do that. Oh, let me do this. Let me dip into this savings and that savings until all of my finances were obliterated. And I had nowhere else to go but to go get a job. And mind you, the job market then wasn't that great either. So let's get back to this whole thing with Tabitha Brown. So I'm seeing all these Black women, and because that's really the only people I see doing this, which is really irritating my soul. And they're just dead set on not liking her. Now let's talk about the other controversy surrounding Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown had, or has, a brand deal with Target, also known as Target. And back when Target showed their ass and said they were getting rid of DEI, and we all made the collective decision that we were no longer shopping at Target. They were no longer going to get our money. Some people were saying, I'm still going to go there, but the only thing I'm going to do when I go there is purchase from Black owned businesses. And people got in an uproar about that too. And I'm like, okay, you got to let people do these things their own way. It is making an impact on Target, and has. I really have not been in a Target in so long. Like, sometimes I think about it, because I used to love me some Target, but I can't go in there. I can't. I think I only went in there once, and I'll be honest. And the only reason why I did is because I was out of coffee, and the coffee brand that I buy is a Black owned brand. And on their website, the one that I buy was actually out. And I was like, okay. And by the time I order it online, it's not going to get here in time. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I'll go in Target and I'll go in there. And that was the weirdest feeling I have ever had. I could not wait to get out of there because it just did not feel right. But anyway, so Target is where Tabitha has her line of stuff, from food, houseware, etc. And so Tabitha was explaining how, she felt like you could still go in Target and just support the Black businesses that are in there. I don't think she necessarily was talking about her, but other people took it that way. I didn't take it that way. She was basically saying that for some of the smaller businesses, this is the only way for them on a bigger scale to get eyeballs on their products. So Target, is the place, blah, 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 so on and so forth. People got all in their panties in a bunch about that too. So I feel like we as Black women sometimes don't understand that we also are still engulfed in patriarchy and white supremacy and how we treat each other. Because at the same time, we understand how everyone is seeking to humble us. Remember the definition, to lower someone in dignity and importance. This stuff shows up in our workplaces where all those microaggressions happen. It shows up in social media where people have entire think pieces talking about Black women, how we, do too much, we loud, we this, we that, but yet everybody and their grandmama want to look like us, talk like us, dress like us, walk like us, have our melanin, have, everything. But we also have to understand in sister circles, this shit happens too. And it's really sad, and we really have got to stop it. So the deep need to humble black women, excuse me. Let's talk about the root of this. So, like I said, racism and patriarchy have just long positioned black women as the mule, the help, the background support, never main character energy. When all in all, we actually are the main character because everybody keeps emulating us, but just putting that out there. So when Black women walk in confidence, they're seen as a threat or arrogant, even when they're simply being excellent. Because, I mean, hello, we are the most educated. We are the ones who are opening the businesses. We are the ones who make the influences of political or politics, I'll say, in how we will get out and be in lockstep. Hello, 92% in our voting. And other communities start projecting their insecurities onto us. And too often, we internalize those messages. And then we start policing each other. And I know I have had this issue as well. Another video that kind of got me on this as well, besides the whole Tabitha Brand debacle, a young lady she made a video on TikTok, and she said, and I really just was like, wow, that is so true. She was like, the world has no problem with anybody living a life of luxury except when Black women do it. When we see a Black woman or Black women living a life in luxury, whether it's a nice car, home, or how she chooses to vacation, where she dines, where she shops, instantly, everybody wants to humble her. Everybody wants to say, well, it don't take all that. You ain't got to do all that. We just do too much. Why are we so extra? Why are we doing all this? And you know what? I got to say, I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of it. It's like I'll say stuff like, why we got to do so much sometimes? It's just, it don't take all that. When I'm looking at someone that looks like me do their thing and be successful. Now, do I think sometimes we give too much to these luxury brands that don't give a rat's ass about us? Yes. But here's something that I am happy about. I don't know if you all know about the site called Shop the Hood. Please go on that site and show that Black woman some love. She has carefully curated and put together a site where you can find all these different Black owned businesses, from, housewares to coffee to tea, clothing, diapers, everything, all of this stuff. And there's some luxury stuff on there. There's pots and pans, there's dishes. I have made myself like a whole list. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get them pots and pans. I love some nice pots and pans. Oh, I didn't. And somebody has flatware and all this other stuff. So yes, and it's very luxurious. But let me get back to this point because I'll talk about that in go on off in left field. But yes, if you see a Black woman living a life of luxury, we start instantly policing her. Instead of posting that you can't afford to live like her or tell her, it must be nice, wish I could do stuff like that. Or why she gotta have all that? That looks like this, that looks like that. Why not just say, sis, oh, I'm so happy for you. And applaud her success. Applaud her privilege to live the life that she lives instead of it angering you that she's living that way. Because then we'll reduce it to, she just living like that because she got a white husband. That white husband is the reason why she lives that way. And to that I say, so even if she had a Black husband that helped her live that way, okay, then what is your point? Or or the sisters that I clap for the hardest are the ones who did it themselves. Man, listen, I will clap so hard for you, sis. I will jump up and down and be like, "Gone, girl." That's what I like. That's what I like to see. So celebrate her because it creates the energy of attraction for you to attract and call in the life that you want for yourself. So sometimes we humble each other because we're taught that our greatness is dangerous, and we've got to stop that. So let's talk about what would happen energetically when we dim our light. And because again, I got to bring it back to light work. We talked about the life, we had the life talk, right? Let's bring this back to light work. So let's talk about our energy centers here. So let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Let's start with the root chakra. Internalized fear of not being safe when visible. See, some of us celebrate in silence because if we put it out there, then we're going to get somebody that's going to want to humble us. Because, that whole thing of, well, how's your little business going? You still got that little business that you're doing? You still going to school? You still, doing, and people find ways to just kind of like knock it down. And even the people who supposedly love us, how's your little business going? Why it's got to be a little business? Why do you have to say it in that way? You know what I'm saying? And we internalize fear of not being safe and not feeling like it's okay for you to be seen as successful, as luxurious, as, um as feisty, as fun, as, not to be seen traveling the world and trying, foods and being in these exquisite places. Because I already know people are already, saying things about Tracy Ellis Ross when she's showing us how she travels. She is not telling you that you have to do what she does. And I know that Tracy knows that everybody don't have the money that she has. But what you can do is watch her, celebrate her, and live vicariously through her and say, you know what? She's doing that. I want to do that too. Or some version of it. But it plays into the fear that we don't. And I know because as a coach, I see this all the time where so many of Black women who come to me for coaching are afraid to be seen. One of the biggest hurdles that I see us have is the fact that we're too afraid to put ourselves out there because we don't want to be labeled. We don't want to be ratchet. We don't want to seem ghetto. We don't want to be too over the top. We don't want to be, maybe too simplified. We don't want to show up in these ways because we know as Black women what's coming for us and how other people are going to perceive us, possibly. And I say possibly because we don't really know for sure until we really just put ourselves out there. So, what we can do is start having more grounding practices to remind ourselves you are safe to be seen. Take a breath right there. You are safe to be seen. It is safe for you to be seen. living your life of luxury, to be seen as an expert in your field, to be seen as educated, to be seen twerking. Okay? It's safe for you to be seen as you being your most authentic self, unapologetically. Let's move up to the sacral chakra. So what we end up doing as black women all too often is we shut down pleasure, creativity, or sensuality so that we can stay appropriate, so that we can stay tolerable by other people. Um, we don't show too much of who we are, and again, our sensuality. Sometimes black women, we just have this divine feminine energy oozing off of us. We just do. And people hate it. But you know what? I love it. I love to see it. So we need to keep showing up and stop denying ourselves pleasure just because somebody want to be a hater. And even if that somebody ends up being your sister, let her hate. Let her hate. Let whoever want to hate, let them hate. Because it's really more about them and their insecurities than it ever was about you. Remember that. So for this, reclaim your joy. Wear what you want to wear. Honey, move your body. Take up space. Don't ask for permission. Don't look for anybody to be like, yes, go, do that. No, no, no. Because again, the definition of humble is to lower someone in dignity and importance. We're no longer allowing people to try to deny our importance and steal our joy, our dignity. Then go into the solar plexus. We dim our confidence to avoid being called too much. We're too much. We're too loud, too ratchet. We ain't got to do all that. It don't take all that. You ain't got to show up like that. What are other people going to think? What are the other races going to think of us? I honestly have come to a point, and I'm so glad that I finally made it to this. Now, I'm not saying I'm at it 100%, but I am slowly but surely getting in that position of I don't give a good damn about what anyone of another race or even my own has to say about who I am as a person because they don't know. And here's the thing, those that are racist, those who have a problem with black women, they're going to think what they think no matter what we do. I mean, we saw this with VP Harris, right? She's extremely educated. She's been in all different branches of government. She was very, very qualified. And yet, they kept talking about her sleeping her way to get to where she is. Her laugh bothered them. Oh God, I got so sick of hearing them talk about that woman laugh. There was nothing wrong with her laugh. All I heard was joy. That's all I heard. So yeah, we're not dimming our light. We're not dimming our confidence no more. So we're going to activate this energy center with bold affirmations and sun rituals. Y'all know the sun loves us, right? This melanin is such a gift. You ever noticed how the sun just bounces off of this melanin skin? The darker you are, the more it bounces off and the more radiant it is. Yes, the sun loves us. So I want you to go outside when you're doing your grounding exercise, put your bare feet on the grass. And I want you to open up your arms and lift your head to the sky for the sun to kiss you on your cheek. And I want you to say, I am allowed to be powerful and proud. Mhm. I am allowed to be powerful and proud. And then lastly, the throat chakra. We start silencing our truth so that we can be palatable. And we're not doing that, right? We're not doing it. So I want you to speak louder. I want you to laugh harder. And I want you to tell your story. No more hiding. I'm done with y'all hiding. Come on now. Put yourself out there. You have nothing to lose by doing that. Nothing. You have everything to gain. So, what can we do to reclaim ourselves? First of all, stop apologizing for your greatness. Stop. I want you to step out there with the audacity of a white man. As a mediocre white man, I want you to step out there with all the audacity. Call out humbling in your mind, because, like I said, that's something that I've had to work on too, because I've noticed that I've done this. But I want you to call it out in your mind, but I also want you to call it out in your circle when it happens. If you're amongst other sisters and you hear them saying something trying to humble another sister, not giving her constructive criticism, not telling her something that might be hard for her to hear, but she needs to hear that truth. Not that. I'm talking about when you're sitting up here and it's the whole, it don't take all that. She doing too much. Why she got to look like that? Why can't she, tone it down because all these white people are around us or whatever? You know what I'm talking about. And then I want you to surround yourself with people who celebrate your shine and not compete with it. Yeah. I often say, my sister is not my competition. She's my complement, and I am hers. Because the way it's supposed to work is I bring what I bring to the world as my divine assignment. And then you bring what you bring to the world as your divine assignment. So where I lack, you have. And where you lack, I have. So we get together and we complement one another. Meaning that I can go to you for the things that I lack in knowledge, wisdom, know-how, whatever, and vice versa. So we need to complement each other and look for that rather than trying to constantly compete. Because at the end of the day, there's really no competition. Only what we have in our minds and allow society to tell us that we're supposed to do. When someone says you're doing too much or asks you, why are you doing what you're doing? Then I want you to ask, for who? I'm doing too much for who? Because that's a valid question. Who am I doing too much for? Because if I'm doing this for myself, and in my mind I'm not doing too much, so who's got the problem here? And then why does it bother them? Bottom line is, sis, come close. Come close. I gotta tell you something. You don't need to be humble. You need to be honest about how powerful you are. The world does not need a smaller version of you. It needs your glow, your full voice, your full presence. You are not here to be humbled. Mm-mm. You are here to be whole. I want you to remember that. You are not here to be humbled. You are here to be whole. That's it. So when I say the world keeps trying to humble Black women, I want you to understand we're done with that. We're done with that with non Black women and with Black women. Sisters, we need each other. We do. Let's stop with the tearing down. If you don't agree with each other on something, fine, leave it at that. But calling each other out each other's name, and being just downright disrespectful, you're no better than the ones that are not Black women who do that to us on a regular. We get enough of that on a regular basis that we don't have to do it to each other. We shouldn't be. I love you. Thank you for listening. I hope this message landed where it needed to land for you. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Be sure to share, be sure to subscribe, like, do all the things. Support this podcast because this podcast is for you. All right. I love you with my whole heart, and I will see you next time. Okay. Be well, and yeah, bye.